Welcome to the world of coaching. You're a life coach, so now what? In this video, I'm going to show you the 4 steps you absolutely must complete if you're going to do any sort of transformational change work or mindset shift with your clients. And if you do these 4 steps, you'll coach with confidence, provide value in every single session so your clients can be able to be who they want to be. And then you can have and feel that coaching high that comes from a deep sense of purpose. And if you don't do these 4 steps, you're going to continue, unfortunately, to come up short, feel inadequate, and ultimately lose your clients to somebody else who can actually help them with what they need. But let's change that. Stick around and watch more to find out how. All the way back in 1999, when I first started out as a personal trainer, I was fortunate enough to have a mentor. In 2004, when I enrolled in an international NLP, hypnosis, and life coaching school, I was a practicing student and I felt a bit shaky and a bit choppy when I first started practicing the techniques. After graduating with honors, I was fortunate enough to be invited back to be an assistant trainer, which was incredibly valuable not only for my confidence, but my comprehension of the material. But as a professional coach, when I was ready to step out on my own to essentially prove if what I learned actually could work in a real life situation beyond the controlled environment of my classroom, I had to figure out a lot on my own. And for me, it was a real sink or swim moment in my life and for my career. Now, the title of this video is 4 Steps to Coach with Confidence. And I created this video for coaches or soon-to-be coaches just like you who I talk with every day. And the biggest frustrations they always tell me is, number 1, they don't know how to find the exact problem or understand how to get to the root cause of their client's core issues. Number 2, once they get to the root cause, they don't know what to do once they're there, and what is it that causes a transformational shift in their clients' lives, aka what they hired you to do in the first place. Number 3, once you tried your technique or intervention, you don't know if what you did actually worked. And finally, number 4, you don't know how to bring the change into the future so that you can ensure what you did has lasting results. So let's get into it. Step number 1, elicitation. Elicitation, or to elicit, means to draw out or bring into the light what it is your client really needs your help with, to bring up to the conscious level the root cause, that whatever your client's pain, suffering, or whatever the problem is. Now, in order to elicit your client's root cause, you're going to need these 3 things. A, you're going to need clients to work with. So if you learned your material and now you're out in the world, you want to really help with people, the elicitation is like the Sherlock Holmes first part of every coaching session. You need somebody to work with, otherwise who are you practicing with? So you're going to need your clients, which is easier said than done for so many people, and we help coaches like this every day. And B is rapport. If you're not in rapport with your client, you're not going to be able to access their unconscious mind, make them feel safe, and lower that emotional drawbridge so they actually will give you the information freely. And then the C is care. Care is so important. Just because you care about people, it doesn't mean that people feel that care. If I were to keep my body just like a penguin and just say, yeah, I really care about you, I'm really here to help you, you probably wouldn't feel it, even if it was true for me. So you really have to lean in, you really have to soften your tone, you really have to pay attention and listen. And for the elicitation process, if you cannot find the root cause, you cannot cause the transformation. So elicitation is first finding what is it that they have an issue with, and really kind of what do they want instead of that. You gotta get clients, you gotta be in rapport, and they have to feel that you care. Step number 2 is transformation. This is a really fun part of coaching when you get to help your client go from suffering or struggling to freedom and helping them, give them the ability to do what they want and be more of their true selves in a very short period of time, which just always leaves you with that coaching high, which is great because it's a sign that you're on the right path of your life's purpose. In order to facilitate transformation, you're going to need these three things. A, the setup, B, calibration, and C, the technique. The setup is really important because you already did the elicitation and you found out what is the root cause that they have and really what is it that they want instead. So you need to set up the change work. You need to set up the technique. That might be pre-framing, they might be giving a big picture, or just making sure that they have the mental understanding about what's about to happen next. Calibration, you have to be able to, with rapport, be able to calibrate where they're at. You can't really speak too fast and you can't speak too slow because you're going to lose them. You really have to speak at a speed and really connect using a lot of words that make sense to them, whether they're using visual, auditory, or kinesthetic cues. And we have to be able to calibrate and find out the best way to deliver, which is see the technique. The technique is amazing. They're so fun, but it doesn't mean anything. Techniques do not work if you don't have rapport. Techniques do not work on the root cause if you cannot find the root cause. So transformation is the absolute fun part, and you need to have that strong foundation before that, and you need to be able to set it up. You need to be able to calibrate to where they're at, and then with the right timing, deliver the technique. Next, we get into step number 3 is test. Now the test phase is extremely important for your work. Can you imagine bringing your broken down car to a mechanic and they do their work, you pay them, and they just hand you over the keys without them testing it by turning the car on or taking it for a test drive first? Why would somebody go to a coach who just guesses by throwing spaghetti on the wall, hoping that the words that they say somehow makes it to somewhere and did something? You certainly wouldn't have any long-term clients with that strategy, and you won't be in the coaching business for very long. So the test phase, you're going to need these 3 things. A, you need to have a baseline. B, to re-elicit. And C, use contrastive analysis. Now the baseline is where they're currently at, measured with where they were before you started the change work, and then you're going to use that to be able to contrastive analysis, find out where they're at after the change work. So the baseline is where are you at now, where were you before, and where are you at after the change work. Re-elicit means with rapport and with the correct words, using keywords for the root cause, you're going to re-elicit, or you're going to temporarily bring up the original problem after the change work. If they were, for example, feeling a 10 out of 10 or 100% of that change work before pre-change work. Post-change work, if it's a 0% or a 20% left over, you can tell by the energy, you can tell by their body language, you can tell by their words. There might be 20% left over, a cleanup technique. But if it's at 0%, wow, that's a really big difference from 100 to 0. Happens all the time in our coaching world. So the re-elicitation means bringing back temporarily that original problem and testing to see how the different reaction is from pre and post change work. And then C is contrastive analysis. In the baseline, how are you feeling now compared to how you were compared to after the change work? So there could be 3 different states without getting too technical. The contrastive, you're contracting and you're analyzing 2 different states, problem and outcome state. That's the best way to measure it. And you can further test by going into the future, which we will get into next in step 4. But this is just the most important thing for confidence for a coach, not only to know what you're doing, know how to get there, know what to do once you're there, and know how to test your work. It's extremely important, building confidence and making you the expert in your field. Like, who am I talking to? I'm trying to Google the world. Finally, we get into step number 4, future anchoring. Future anchoring is extremely important to bring the amazingly beautiful, positive, life-changing, and deep internal transformational work you just facilitated with your client. We want to bring that into the future so they can use it in their everyday lives. You're going to need these 3 things in order to do future anchoring. A, you're going to need clarity. B, mental rehearsal. And C, condition it 2 to 3 times. So let's kind of recap. You started off by checking in with the person and you want to do the elicitation. You found out where the root cause is. Then we went next to doing the change work. We set it up, did really well. It's like bowling pins, knocked it down. Awesome. Thirdly, we tested it to make sure here's where you're at now compared to where you were. Let's see if we did a good job. And then in the future, we want to make sure the results continue to happen. So you want to have clarity of when and where do you want this change to happen, right? So it could be when they do a presentation for work. It could be when they're asking somebody out on a date. Whatever specific goals it's for them, you want to really visualize it and make sure they get into the future so then when the future happens, they've already mentally rehearsed it, which is B, mental rehearsal. Now, when the change work really happens, it's really shifted, it's permanent. This is just extra to go above and beyond to ensure you're the best possible coach and your clients would be impossible to replace you because you add so much value in their life. And it's really great for you as well, so you can really understand that they're going to ensure the work that you just facilitated. So the mental rehearsal might be visualizing or just, it could be a test again, but it really anchors that in the future that they're going to have this change that just happened. And then C is condition it 2 to 3 times. So you want to get that clarity. When and where do you want this change to happen or know that it's going to happen? And then what does that look like? Tell me about you. Before you said when you talked to this person, you felt these negative things and these things you don't want. That's why you came. Now you're telling me you're going to feel this way and it's going to be so great and you can't even access this anymore. Cool. Let's do that again. Let's do it 2 or 3 times to make sure it goes really deep and it becomes permanent. Then you can have access to those resources anytime and automatically, which is the best part. There are a lot of golden nuggets in this video for you to use in your coaching practice starting today. If you found this video helpful for you, let's connect by commenting below and subscribing to see more videos like this to help support your life's purpose. Remember, this is something that is going to take time. All greatness comes through repetition. I know it took me years to get to a place where I can do this in my sleep, and I know you can too. Just stick with it. Also, in the description of this video, I'm looking to have conversations with coaches or soon-to-be coaches who feel like having more tools will allow them to touch as many lives as possible. You can schedule a time one-on-one with myself or Amanda. Until the next video, remember, you matter very much in a world that needs you now more than ever.